the point of doing this was not to go on some diatribe about my politics or your politics or even Bruce's politics. The point of this conversation was to basically celebrate a songwriter who puts his social conscience into his lyrics.
Live from Wisconsin, it's Play That Rock and
Roll. We're going to count down our top 10 favorite politically themed songs in Bruce's catalog. Before we start, I'm going to, at long last, crack my beverage for the evening, a Yingling beer.
And I am drinking Wild Berry Poppy.
All right. Hey, it's blue.
Yes.
Like Bruce.
Yeah, I came up with actually 13, but I'm going to go 10, and these are based on personal preference, not necessarily if I was a critic. In other words, this is the songs that I would rank.
And that's the criteria I want. Don't care about the critical analysis.
Yeah.
We are here to talk about our favorites.
Yeah.
So let's start with number 10.
Number 10 is a cover, yet it does have lyrics that he wrote. When Bruce Springsteen was touring with the Seeger Band, he had put out a band, the Seeger Sessions. He put out an album where he had done a lot of covers of songs that Pete Seeger made famous. And then they recorded, speaking of concert films, live in Dublin.
Yep.
And they did a version of How Can a Poor Man Stand Such Times and Live?
I'm going to stop you right there.
Yes.
That song is also my number 10 pick. So we are on the same page immediately. Excellent.
Good. We'll have a fun discussion. Yes. The lyrics are rewritten about Katrina. He played the Jazz Fest after Katrina. There is a beautiful article written by a columnist about how important that was to the city, that someone of his stature would come and play Jazz Fest, especially after Katrina. Them that got out of town, them got left to drown. I mean, I love that song. It is so powerful. And I have a friend who is very conservative. And he says, great song. All the lyrics are a lie, but it's a great song. So I thought this is a good way to start it. It is I don't know if as many people know about this one, but it is incredibly powerful with the band, and it really good lyrics.
Absolutely. For me, the standout lyric is, and what happened to you poor black folk, well, it just ain't fair. You took a look around, gave a little pep talk, said, I'm with you, and then he took a little walk. And that like brings back memories of what was happening with Hurricane Katrina. I was in high school when that happened. People got a lot of laughs out of that whole Mike Myers, Kanye West bit, where, Kanye said what he said. In that moment, it wasn't a joke. In that moment, we were seeing footage of people on the roofs of their homes, waving for help and not getting it. And so for me, I appreciate that Bruce has written about Katrina in a number of songs. I think this is the most direct of it, but it's a good deep cut for his songs. It's a good connection to the protest singers of even before his generation. So I think that's a good selection for number 10. Yeah.
So number 9, Devils and Dust from the Devils and Dust CD. I got God on my side and I'm just trying to survive. But what if you do to survive kills the thing you love? It's from the perspective of a soldier. The song starts with, I got my finger on the trigger and I don't know who to trust. It is, Devils and Dust was kind of the third of the semi-acoustical albums, Nebraska, Ghost of Tom Joad, and Devils and Dust. There is one of the reasons why Devils and Dust has a very special place in my heart is my first concert was in 2002 after the Rising, and I didn't know all the songs. I was a casual fan. So when Devils and Dust came out, I played that CD over and over and over again. And so when the concert came, I knew every song from that album. I'd done my homework. And so, and there are some really wonderful songs on that. So that's number 9 for me.
Excellent. Yeah, that album I don't know a whole lot about. It's taken me a while to come around to Springsteen's acoustic stuff, mostly because it takes me a while to come around to anyone's acoustic stuff. Sure. All right, so my number 9 is a newer song. It comes off the Letter to You album, Rainmaker. Oh. And that song I thought was really cool. I hadn't heard it before earlier this week, but it's about basically charlatans and how people in desperate situations will turn to them because they got to turn to somebody. And, the Rainmaker, what's the line here? Rainmaker says, white's black and black's white, says night's day and day's night. And, to me, that's like extremely prescient because it's the world we're living in right now where there are so many Rainmakers, including one in the White House, that we see our fellow Americans turning to. And we don't why would you support, someone from the billionaire class when you're a poor person? And it's most of the time out of desperation. I thought that was a pretty sharp song and a good criticism of so many people that are in that elite political social class we have today.
Absolutely. Great choice. It is not on my list, but I think now that you mention it, I think it certainly belongs on the list. House of Thousand Guitars, he is on this tour talking about it, where he calls out, Trump in it.
Yep.
And so, yeah, great. Letter to You is an album that I love. And when people say, well, Bruce he hasn't done anything since, The Rising or whatever, I go, you just haven't listened. I mean, right. It's not Darkness on the Edge of Town Part 2, but it is something amazing.
Okay, what's your number 8?
We Take Care of Our Own.
All right. That is on my list.
Okay.
That is much higher for me.
Okay.
That is my number 5 pick.
Okay. And I will not argue with that. I love that song. There's a lot of jokes that it is one of his most misunderstood songs, right? Same as Born in the USA. We take care of our own. We don't take care of our own. That's the whole purpose. I love that song. I loved hearing it live. It is there is such a joy to it, even though it's such a sorrowful, lyrics. Once again, has a tie to Katrina, has a tie to us
the Superdome.
It is sad that we don't take care of our own, and just that we take care of our own wherever this flag is flown is just a sad thing because, we're not. So, I loved it. And I wish I could have put it higher. So good for you.
Yeah, I absolutely love that song. It's the Wrecking Ball album. When you're talking about Springsteen's late era career, Wrecking Ball album is head and shoulders above the rest for me. I really loved that album when that came out, and part of it was with that song was that's in 2012 when Obama was running for re-election. I went to go see President Obama give a speech here in Milwaukee, and it was a great event. When he finished his speech, as soon as he finished, that was the song that kicked in that everybody walked out of the venue to. And it was great in the moment because it is a great song, and we felt fired up. That's his whole thing.
Yeah.
But as I was walking to the car, there was this nagging thought in the back of my head where it was just like, a previous president misunderstood an oorah sounding Springsteen song. It's not exactly the same thing, but it's kind of history repeating itself.
That's pretty funny.
And yeah, and I will say, but it was kind of less funny when like Biden was using it as a campaign theme, because it's like, dude, we're 8 years past this. You should know what this song is about by now.
Yes, exactly.
Especially because Bruce has other songs. Yeah, this is an angry song.
Yes, it is.
It's a song that's angry at the government. It's angry at the Bidens as much as it is the Republicans. So I guess in that sense, I do kind of like the song even more because it does make me laugh when I think about that stuff. Yeah. But I like the song as much as I do, and I put it where it is at number 5 because it is just a jam. Like, you take the lyrics aside, that's a rock. So
yeah, it is.
My number 8 is an outtake from The River, Roulette. So Roulette is he wrote in response to the 3 Mile Island meltdown, which I think is a fascinating topic to have a song be inspired by. Makes me think of the movie The China Syndrome, which I really enjoy. Makes me think of the HBO miniseries Chernobyl, which was fantastic. And it's about the like paranoia and like hysteria that comes as a result of being lied to and not being told the whole truth by your government or institutions that you are looking to for guidance or information. And like the narrator in that song really rattles loose in the last verse, talking about putting a gun to the person's head and bullets spinning in the chamber. Like, I think Springsteen is best when he's furious. And there's some righteous anger in this song because, what happens when there's a crisis? Institutions don't try to notify people. They try and minimize things. And, CYA, they all try to cover their own ass. And that's not what we need from institutions and leadership. So, and that's also what gets people killed. So I think this is a sneaky, effective song. It's definitely a deep cut, but I enjoy it. I think there's some good stuff in here. And it also, I think, becomes a little more relevant in the post-COVID years. Because what happened at the start of COVID? I mean, you had Trump out there saying, "Oh, it's just going to magically go away," and numbers where everyone was trying to keep the numbers down. So, that's my number 8. It's kind of obscure, but I like it.
It on my honorable mention. It did not make my top 10, but yes, it is also a lot. It's a deep cut that a lot of people love, and that is a song that some people had wished he would have included in this tour. They think that it was a song that would have fit the theme, and it would have given longtime fans a little, oh, hey, we're getting Roulette, Yeah. So
yeah, good. Not a Vegas song.
Right. Yes. Yes, exactly. Good. All right. So 7. This probably should go up higher, but we haven't lived with it enough yet. But Streets of Minneapolis, when you hear the story that he was seeing the news coming from Minneapolis and he was moved and he wrote the song over a weekend, recorded it, and put it out that quickly. And it's not a perfect song, but it is a song, and as Tom Morello said, sometimes you need to kick them in the teeth and not be subtle.
Yeah.
I also, part of this is Stephen Colbert made the joke when he said that Bruce Springsteen has a new song out, he said, I wrote it this weekend, I recorded it yesterday. And Colbert's like, I had a pretty good weekend too. Saturday, I washed the laundry. Sunday, I put him in the dryer, So, yeah, it was really good to hear it live. I love how it got so much press and it shot up the online charts. And I love that it was calling out the crap that ICE was doing. So I put it 7. I think because of the just the timeliness of it and the quickness of it. I don't know if this is like Streets of Philadelphia that will stand the test of time. But for now, June 2026, I think it deserved the list.
Yeah, I dig that because that's the whole thing about fan lists. They change.
Yes.
If we made a top 10, the same top 10 list next year, everything would be different.
Right.
And that's the fun of this stuff. So I think you're right. For the moment, this is a prescient song. It's important they did it. What I like about the song is that he names Alex Preddy and Renee Good. I think, given how awful it was, what happened to them being killed in the streets by ICE. At least their names won't be forgotten. They're memorialized in the great songbook of one of our great songwriters. No, I think it's important because the city of Minneapolis needed a battle cry.
Yes.
And you got to see that song live in concert. So
there you go. Yes.
I mean, were you seeing when he was playing that? How was it affecting people around you? Were people tearing up, or were people singing along, or what?
No, they were singing along, and that's in the middle when he, shouts the, fuck ICE now, fuck ICE now. So yeah, it was good. It's kind of a rallying call.
Right. Yeah. Very good. My number 7 is Youngstown, from The Ghost of Tom Joad, which of course is about the decline of the steel industry in the Midwest, and it's like. Again, when I think he's at his best speaking politically, it's anger at the ruling class, at the billionaire class, the what I've been calling it, this great term I heard, the Epstein class. The people with all the money, and the line in here that just absolutely knocked me out was, "Now the yard's just scrap and rubble." He said, "Them big boys did what Hitler couldn't do." That is an absolute wallop of a lyric. And you hate to say it, but it's like there's truth to it. Like, big business gutted industry towns, and moved stuff overseas or wherever, and left working people, just flapping in the wind. And it's a somber song. I remember the first time I saw Bruce was in 2008 at Harley Davidson's 105th anniversary. They had a Bruce Springsteen concert to celebrate their 105th anniversary as a company. It was one I had not heard before that moment, and I remember it was memorable for me, especially because I was fairly new to Bruce at that time.
Yeah.
And I think it aged well because, what's true then is still true now.
Yeah, the last time I saw him before this show was in Columbus, Ohio. And we all knew that Youngstown was going to be on the set list, right? Northeast Ohio. It has a similar vibe to Allentown from Billy Joel.
Oh, yeah. The most important question, Youngstown, Allentown, what's more danceable, Jesse?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 6.
All right. This is a personal favorite of mine. You've already talked about Wrecking Ball, Jack of All Trades. I adore this song. My stepfather, who I also adored, was the guy this guy is talking about. Is a mechanic, carpenter, just he could do anything. And the first time my wife heard it, she's like, "Oh, that's Papa Kenneth." And then, of course, you get the twist at the end. If I had a gun, I'd kill. I was at Meadowland, so I think it's 2016, 2017, something like that. He had strings, and he started the concert with New York Serenade, and he brought the strings back to do Jack of All Trades with the strings, and it was really beautiful. So for sentimental reasons, I had to put Jack of All Trades on this.
Those are good reasons. You're right about that last line about if I had a gun. It makes me think, have you ever heard the Bruce Cockburn song, If I Had a Rocket Launcher?
No, I'll have to check that out. Okay.
It's not exactly the same thing, but the idea is the same. Where it's just like,
okay,
like it's an angry song. I mean, it's an angry sentence, not subtle. All right. My number 6 is American Land.
Yes.
Not Jungle Land, not Badlands, not the Promised Land, not Land.
Yes.
I stole that joke from Reddit. American Land. A song that's a little different than some of these on this list in the sense that it is uplifting and positive. It's not an angry protest song. It is a celebration of immigrants. And that's what makes this country great. It is a happy political song, which I think people forget can be a thing. Like, you can have a joyous song that's also a political statement. It's much more of a political statement now, given that the Trump years have, really just demonized immigrants as, the others and invaders and all that awful garbage. Whereas previous, even Republican presidents didn't go to that degree. So this song, with that Irish, I don't know what you call it, that Celtic style, that stomping claps is great. It feels like a song that could have been played on the boat that the Irish immigrants were coming over to the America in like the 1920s or whatever. A lot of joy with that one. Just a real fun listen. I think if you're going to be a political artist, you got to be able to do that. You can't just be angry. You got to be fighting for something. You can't, only fight against. So I like that song because it's an affirmation of what I believe is an American value, and that's, immigrants, and this country's built on them.
They died building the railroads. They worked to bones and skin. They died in the fields and factories, dimes scattered in the wind. They died to get here 100 years ago. They're still dying now. The hands that built the country were always trying to keep down. This song is what people think Born in the USA is about. This song is a celebration of America. There's treasure for the taking for any hardworking man who will make his home in the American land. Okay,
then you're gonna get the next 2 because we did my number 5. We take care of our own. So what is your 5, and then you can go right to 4 after.
So Ghost of Tom Joad comes in at number 5. It's an incredibly powerful song, whether it's the band doing it, whether Bruce solo or with Tom Morello. There is something absolutely beautiful about Tom doing it as a duet with him and the guitar solo. I think Ghost of Tom Joad is, really strong. And once again, I think that if this made someone's Mount Rushmore, and made top 4, I would not argue with it.
Would you disagree that track is probably the highlight of Bruce in the 90s?
The only reason is Land of Hope and Dreams came in the 90s.
Okay.
And so that, because when they did the greatest hits, and I love Land of Hope and Dreams, and it is one of the top. I agree with that. It is. That shows he still had his fastball. And for those of you who go, well, I wish he wouldn't be political. There you go. Last century he was being political. Yeah. So,
all right.
Number 4, and this may be shocking that it is so low, Born in the USA.
Okay.
We've talked about this a lot. The song is an incredibly patriotic song. The song is despite having to go to Vietnam. And by the way, my father had that same circumstances.
Yes, we talked about that.
Yeah, he had to join the Army. When we talked, that's right, we did the episode about it. The idea that I've had all this happen, but I still can hang on that I was born in USA. I love the rocking version. If you watch Springsteen on Broadway on Netflix, there is a introduction before he does the blues version and talking about him not getting drafted. And he says, I wonder who went in my place. An absolutely haunting song. Probably the only reason it's a little lower is it is a little overplayed. It's one of the you start. I'm not tired of it, but so that's why it goes down a little lower for me. But if someone, on several lists, this was his number one political song, and I can't argue.
Well, add to those lists. That's my number one.
Yeah.
This is one of the few re-release albums I've ever bought. I'm usually happy with vintage vinyl, but I love this record so much that I went out and I got the special re-release that was put out a couple of years ago. And it's mostly on the strength of the title track, of course.
Yeah.
It's a top 5, maybe on some days a top 3 Springsteen song for me.
Yeah.
And I just love the concept. I love that he wove political commentary into a patriotic chorus. And the only thing that's a bummer is just the stuff, and this happens, this is just a normal thing, but people don't get it. People on both sides don't get it. You have the people who don't listen to lyrics at all and think it's an oorah thing, and then you have, kind of snarkier people who are like, hey, did you know that song's anti-American? Or how about this? Have you ever heard this one? Hey, did you know that he's peeing on the flag on the cover? And it's like, come on. Stupid. And I put it at number 1 because of all of Bruce's political messages. I mean, there are themes that come up again and again. He was obviously very affected by Hurricane Katrina. He has a very clear anti-racist streak, and there are certain topics he cares about more than others. And I think one that is extremely high on his list, as far as the songwriting goes, is the Vietnam War. Because you also have songs like Shut Out the Light and The Wall, which I discovered recently about the memorial.
Hey, if I could interrupt you, one show he did The Wall and then Born in USA back to back. Wow. That was a powerful 1-2 punch.
Yeah. Because it's like, this is his generation, and one thing I've thought about of him on this tour and in this feud he's been having with Trump is that, of course, I back him, but there is a part of me that thinks, how is it still falling to him in 2026 to fight this battle? Where is the Bruce equivalent? Where is the pop star, the rock star, the rap star, whoever it would be, of the country star of today, who is, fighting the power? Why are we looking to past generations? And I know, of course, there are other artists, but, Trump isn't posting about them. He's picking on Bruce, and Bruce is getting all those headlines. And that does kind of bum me out that we don't have a Bruce equivalent today to carry the fire and bring that fight. Whereas in the 80s, with this album and that song in particular, he was the contemporary guy to speak up on behalf of Vietnam veterans and to, be a middle finger to the Reagan administration and their disinterest on the issue. So that's why I put it at number 1 for me, because that was him in the moment of his peak popularity in his prime, meeting the political moment of the cause of his generation. It was just everything was right for him in that time. And I think there's a lot of veterans who really appreciate him for it. And it just so happened that he made one of the most listenable songs of his entire catalog while working on it. So I got to give him credit for that. So that's why it's my number one.
Well, I can't, like I said, I couldn't argue with you. There is that great scene in Deliver Me from Nowhere where Jimmy Iovine says that he says this song would make it, you could put out the album if that's the only song on it, it'd be a hit album, you know. So absolutely right. Yeah. So who's your number 4 then?
Yeah, on Deliver Me from Nowhere. I think we have different opinions of that movie. I wasn't very high on it, but I will tell you, the scene where they have the band playing Born in the USA in the studio, and you get a couple of minutes with that song.
Yeah.
And I think Mark Maron's in the production booth.
Yeah.
Like, that was a great scene. I really enjoyed that. And it was so cool to hear that song on the big screen because you don't often hear Bruce songs in movies.
Right.
So, you know, yeah, it was my only experience being in a movie theater and hearing, you know, Bruce music. So I enjoyed that. My number 4 is, ironically, a song from a movie soundtrack, of course, Streets of Philadelphia, which I never saw in theaters, but it was the single for the soundtrack for the film Philadelphia, starring Tom Hanks, which of course is about a guy who's diagnosed with AIDS, HIV/AIDS. And you think about Bruce in the 80s, and you think about how popular he was. You have to imagine there must have been so many studios begging to get him on the soundtrack for their summer blockbuster. And he always turned that stuff down. And it wasn't until like a socially conscious film about a prescient issue where he finally, you know, came around and participated in. And he delivered a song that to me is one of the most haunting songs I've ever heard. It's a heartbreaking song. It's one where if I actually sit and watch the music video, I will absolutely tear up. Even though it's a simple video, he's just walking on the streets of Philadelphia. But the message in the song is what pulls at the heartstrings, because it's of course about the subject matter in the movie, but more than anything else, the broader theme is just empathy. And I think it's the lyric where he says, I was unrecognizable to myself, saw my reflection in a window and didn't even know my own face. That right there, like I get choked up reading. And the rest of the song, he's just, you know, crying out for people to, you know, have a little compassion. And, it's not a protest song. He's not asking for Congress to change laws, you know, about gay rights. He's just asking for people to have some just basic decency and empathy for people who are dying and need help. And it's not sonically the most powerful song in the catalog, but it delivers an emotional punch that I think hits me harder than any of these other songs. Some of these songs I enjoy and I feel angry about, righteous anger. Some of these songs are, like we were talking about, just being good jams. This is the one where like I'll get choked up listening to. And then when you pair it with the movie, which is a brilliant film in its own right, it's really well done. So, you know, I just like that production style. I think he looks great in the music video on top of everything else. It's a damn good song. So I really like that.
It was 11 on my list.
Oh, okay.
I really was trying to get it. I remember Siskel and Ebert talking about how powerful it was that Bruce did a song, and they were debating, was that the first time a major rock star has sung a song from the perspective of being a homosexual? He won an Oscar for this song. Yeah. And it's not in the set list every night. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a song that won an Oscar.
Is that one he plays really at all? Because I'm just going to say, I don't think I've ever seen a live video of him doing it.
Yeah, and you know the story, right? That he came home. He was living in California at the time, and he went to visit his parents, and he put the Oscar on the table, and his dad said, "I will never tell anyone what to do with their lives again," because he was not in favor of them doing.
Right.
It's definitely deserves on the list, and I couldn't figure out a way to get this in, so I'm glad you have it on yours.
Yeah. Well, you know what I like about the Streets of Minneapolis song is that obviously with that title connection, and we talked about how Minneapolis, meets the moment of today in 2026. Yeah. I mean, that song more than anything met the moment of 1993. Now we're getting into the meat of the show here.
Top three. Yeah. American Skin. 41 shots.
Okay. Jesse, I'm going to stop you right there because my number 3 is also American Skin. We are sympatical.
There we go. We're back on there. Yeah. When he wrote this, and he was booed by cops.
Yeah.
When he played this the first time, in Madison Square Garden.
Wasn't there some story about them not providing security or something or another like that? Yeah.
But once again, if you listen to the song, it is not anti-police because the first verse is from the police perspective, praying for his life.
Yeah.
If you read the story of what the young man dying, everything went wrong. And it is just heartbreaking. And I always feel a little weird about this. We're two, middle-class white guys talking about the Black experience. But we do not understand their perspective. And for Bruce to try to put himself in that and talk about that, I think is really, really powerful.
Well, it's risky.
Yeah,
because if you get it wrong, it would be very bad on Bruce.
Yes,
and he didn't. He writes a song with nuance and acknowledges, the officer's perspective in the start of the song, but the focus of the song is the injustice.
Yeah,
he puts 41 shots in the title, which I think is good because 41 gunshots. That's a ridiculous number for one human being.
Right.
That number is the injustice.
Yes.
One of many in the song. So I think, again, this was something where, a lesser artist could have really stumbled and put their foot in it and really stepped in it. And I don't think he did. I think he made a very effective song about injustice while at the same time being empathetic to the other side of it. Again, nuance, that's hard to do. And sadly, not appreciated by the people he's showing empathy to. As you mentioned, the cops turn their back on him. And there's a lot of people who consider it an anti-American, anti-police song, and because everything's got to be black or white, and that sucks. But I think it's a great example of commentary songwriting, which is, again, it's not something that anybody can just do. Like, you have to be a great, you have to be truly one of the greats to pull that off. So we're on the same page. Number 3.
Yeah. All right. Number 2, American Land. 2. Yeah. American Land.
American Land. Yeah.
We've already talked a lot about it, so there's not much else I can say. I love the joy in the lyrics and the music. Watching them perform it live, and you see Susie's playing the fiddle, and they've got the accordion out, and there is so much joy, and the lyrics are important, and it makes me smile, it makes me think, and it could have been number one very easily.
Well, right on. Well, yeah, and we've already heard my number one, so we are all of a sudden wrapping up this list very quickly. We have so far 5 songs in common, which I think is pretty cool. That's a good number.
Yeah.
So, drum roll, please. What is your number one?
So my number one is Long Walk Home.
Long Walk Home, okay.
Yeah. Last night I stood at your doorstep trying to figure out what went wrong. You just slipped something into my palm and then you were gone. And it talks about the small town. The diner was shuttered and boarded with a sign that just says gone. And it's going to be a long walk home. If hey, pretty darling, don't wait up for me. Going to be a long walk home. And there is this flag flying over the courthouse means certain things are set in stone. Who we are, what we'll do, and what we won't. It's going to be a long walk home. When he sang that, I'm getting misty now. Who we are, what we'll do, and more importantly, Joe, what we won't. And we're a long way from that. We're a long way from that as a country. And so I think that, and you're right, a year from now, this probably wouldn't be number one.
Yeah.
But with where we're feeling now, just seeing it in concert, and the idea that we are so apart as a country and as citizens, and we have, I don't think the core Americans have, but I think this administration has taken us so far from what we want to be, where we do take care of people, where we've cut off, AIDS medicine to Africa. We've gone out, we've taken away funding, all these things that we don't take care of our own. And so the song really means a lot to me. And I am so glad that I got to hear it live. And right now that's my number one. And as we talked about, Joe, it's a very personal choice.
Yes, absolutely. Well said. And what album is that one from?
It's from Magic.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Which is about the Bush administration, which now looks like we'll take it. Let's bring it back.
What's old is new again. And what you said would so perfectly close us out. Unfortunately, classic Joe, I screwed up.
Yeah.
I forgot to say my number 2.
That's right. I did think you did. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Yeah.
My number 1 is Born in the USA, but my big reveal here at the end is actually my number 2 pick.
Yeah.
Death to My Hometown.
Oh.
From Wrecking Ball. Yes.
Yeah.
So, not to trample over what you said, which I thought was excellent.
No.
I will say that Death to My Hometown, my number 2 pick, because speaking of the Bush administration, that song is written in response to the Wall Street crash in 2008, and it's about the robber barons, the modern day robber barons, making off like bandits. None of whom were, or I think one was prosecuted for all that malfeasance with mortgages and whatnot. Talking about how political songs can be personal, there's a personal element to that to me as well, in the sense that the 2008 financial crisis, the Great Recession, that was right at the start of my adulthood. I was in college. That was a pivotal global event that has loomed over me and my whole generation. You see memes about this in millennial circles about how we've lived through 9/11 and Katrina and the financial collapse, and all this other stuff. But that one was something that was on the forefront of our minds for years, and it was the the story that really jaded a lot of us because we didn't see anyone suffer any consequences for wrecking the economy and evicting so many people out of their homes. It was also jading for us to see, President Obama get elected on the back of the anger of what happened in that, to see him put some of those same people who had caused the crash, like, in his administration.
Yeah.
And, I've heard him talk about it, and it was never very convincing. I still think he, was a good president. I'm happy I voted for him, but that financial collapse still registers today. We're still living in the fallout from all that. So hearing Bruce sing about it, where he is equating these Wall Street people to ate the flesh of everything they found in the most visceral and angry of imagery. That's what we felt. And when I would hear this song, I would sing along with again, righteous anger about these modern day robber barons who were wrecking people's lives. And like he says, send the robber barons straight to hell. The greedy thieves who came around, ate the flesh of everything they found, whose crimes have gone unpunished now, who walk the streets of free men now. Like, that's what we were thinking. And again, the rage is coming back as I'm thinking about it. So, for me, that's the personal side of it, is because that song really registered for me. And I was over the moon to hear him sing that when I saw him in 2023. That was in the set list. I wasn't expecting it, and that was a real treat to hear that live. So, we have similar up at the top, some songs we saw him perform live recently in concert that were very effective, and I'm sure that's part of why they were so high on our lists.
Yeah, I was thrilled that it was the third song. Yeah, get yourself a song to sing and sing it till you're done. Yeah, sing it hard and sing it well. Absolutely great choice. I love that song. I love Wrecking Ball is also, for me, one of my favorite albums. And I know we keep talking about that. There's, depending on your mood, but there was just something so good about it. And I know in his autobiography, he said he was disappointed that Wrecking Ball wasn't more successful than it was. He really thought that he had written a lot of good songs in about appropriate time, and he was just a little disappointed that it did not get more traction and do more response.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, but to him, I would say, hey, those who know, they know. That's what counts.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, I gotta say, this has been an absolute blast. We did 10 songs each, 5 songs in common, 5 songs different.
That's a pretty good mix. Perfect. That is kind of perfect. I agree. Yeah.
And more than anything else, as I said at the start of the stream, the point of doing this was not to, go on some diatribe about my politics or your politics or even Bruce's politics. The point of this conversation was to basically celebrate a songwriter who puts his social conscience into his lyrics. And I felt this way. I said this in a video I made about Neil Young. Bruce, being political is not something he picked up late in life. He has always been someone who has written songs about social issues that he cares about and has something to say about. So the point today was just to celebrate, I think, one of the great American songwriters who walks that line of managing to write message music that is also accessible and listenable and rockin' and danceable even. Yeah. So it's been an absolute joy doing this list with you. I hope this was fun, and I gotta say, appreciate hanging out overtime, dude. We've been going for like 2.5 hours.
This was a blast. I love this. I can't wait to do it again, and I hope everyone enjoys us talking, our conversation as much. But I talk about this all the time, Joe. when people ask me for advice about podcasting, and I go, if you're going to have a conversation or discuss a topic that you don't care if no one listens, but you're still having fun, then do it. And and so this is a good case tonight. It's just a couple of friends talking music.
Absolutely. You nailed it. Well said.